It is time for India versus Pakistan. It's not a fixture we get to discuss and celebrate as we used to a few years back, but it always makes for great conversation. On ESPN Cricket for T20 time or ahead of their opening Asia Cup encounter, we will ask the big question out of an India player. As Cheteshwar Pujara will join us for the first time. Puji, firstly, warm welcome. Are you more comfortable as an analyst or more comfortable as a T20 batter or generally an international batter? I wonder which one's easier.
Thanks, Ronak. I think I would prefer to be a player than the analyst, but yeah, sometimes it's good to be on this side and then talk about some of my teammates. So yes, I'm
Yes.
looking forward for this.
We're looking forward eagerly. When I say we, it's me and Gaurav Sundar Raman, of course, who's with me in studio, our senior data analyst. This should be fun. Normally, we ask the former players and the coaches what they think. Now we'll get to ask someone who plays with these guys because it's a big question we need to ask, Jess.
Yeah, and I think we'll get some really good insights having been part of the team and having played with these players. So, one of the biggest calls for India is going to be whether to pick Rishabh Pant or Dinesh Karthik. You have a World Cup coming in 1 month, and none of these players have actually played together for a very long time. Basically,
Yes.
the top seven have not played at all. So this is the first time due to injuries and workload, people had to come in and come out.
Yes.
But now is the time to prepare for that World Cup. Hope there are no injuries. We'll have a sign on who's going to be picked ahead. So I think that's a big problem the coaching staff has. Whether you pick Rishabh Pant because for his left-handedness and the fact that he is Rishabh Pant, he can bat anywhere he wants, or someone whom you have groomed for that particular role, Dinesh Karthik, who's done a great job as a finisher. What do you do?
All right, let's go to Cheteshwar Pujara and ask him that. Now, our homework tells us that is the straightforward call-up, Puji, because we know that Rahul, Rohit, Virat Kohli, Surya Kumar Yadav, along with Pandya and Jadeja are all pretty much undroppable. So, assuming that is the
Yeah.
case, if India have to make this call, what would you like to see them do in the Asia Cup?
Well, firstly, it's a big headache for the team management as well because both are doing really, really well in T20 format. So now the tough call is whether do you want someone who can bat at number 5 or you want a finisher who can bat at number 6 or 7. So I would say if you want someone at number 5, I think Rishabh Pant is a better choice. But if you want your batting lineup to have a very good finisher who can, I mean, who is just likely to play about 10 to 20 balls and give you 40, 50 runs, I think then DK is a better option. So, I mean, personally, I think knowing the team management, knowing how things work around the Indian team, I would think that they might go with Rishabh Pant because he's a left-hander, and that gives team a bit of balance with left and right combination.
All right, interesting you say that. So, Pant, you think knowing the team management might get the nod. Is there a case at all for both of them to play? We asked Mickey Arthur that question, the former Pakistan coach, and he suggested in the UAE you want that firepower in the middle order. So, India must take a tough call and say we can only play 3 out of the top 4, and he made it down to 1 out of Virat Kohli or Surya Kumar Yadav. He said they might start with Kohli, and in spite of how Surya has been, he would miss out because he would want both Pant and DK to play. Do you see any merit in that argument? Is it at all likely that India will go that way?
Uh, no, I don't agree to that because Surya Kumar is one of our top T20 players. He's one of our top T20 batter. So I would definitely want him in the side because he can win you games. He's someone who has done really well for Mumbai Indians, and even whenever I've seen him at number 4, he has done exceptionally well. So I can't. I mean, I don't think even the team management will leave him out. If DK and Rishabh both had to play, I think you have to drop one of the top order, and which isn't possible. So I don't think both can play in the 11.
All right, fair enough that. Now, the other question I want to ask you this on this Pant versus DK conversation is India seem to have given DK this job to play as a specialist finisher. They even send Jadeja ahead of him if say wickets fall before over number 15 or so. That specialized role has not been assigned to anybody else. If DK doesn't play, would you like somebody else to play that role? We know Hardik Pandya is now batting a lot more in the top order. He likes batting there for the Titans. Pant has always been used as a floater. But if that is a specialized sort of role in Karthik's absence, would you give that role to somebody else?
Yeah, I would prefer Hardik to do that role because he's someone who can strike from ball 1, and his strike rate is always about 150. So I don't think Rishabh can do that job because he needs little more time. And if he comes into bat, I think it should be somewhere around 10 to 12 overs. And if he gets 8 to 10 overs, he can score a 50 or a bit more than that.
It looks like we could lean more towards Rishabh Pant if you have to take Cheteshwar Pujara's analysis and assessment. We do know that Pant did not train as much a couple of days going into this game. I don't know what you can read into all that, so let's not get into that. We'll come to that on our live show. The bowling is another question mark in the absence of Jasprit Bumrah, in the absence of Harshal Patel. Puji, as we look at that team, what sort of combination would you like India to start with against Pakistan? Bhuvneshwar Kumar, Arshdeep Singh and Avesh Khan are the outright pace bowling options. Would all three make your 11 for this opening game, or would you want to go spin heavy and give Yuzvendra Chahal and Ravindra Jadeja one more spinner to play with, either Ashwin or Bishnoi? How would you like India's bowling to look?
I think I would go with three seamers start of the tournament because wickets will be a little fresh. There will be a little more assistance for the fast bowler in first few games. And as the tournament progresses, the pitches might get a little slower. So if you want three spinners, I think it should be later in the tournament, not when we are starting the tournament. So I would go with Bhuvnesh, Avesh Khan and Arshdeep as my seamers, and then it will be a tough call. I think Jadeja is there at number 7 for sure, but would you play Ashwin or Chahal? That will be a big question for the team. And depending on who the opposition is, I think if they have more left-handers, I wouldn't be surprised. There are times where Ashwin will get in ahead of Chahal.
For this Pakistan game, though, I think more right-handers than left. There's Fakhar Zaman. Is there another left? Kushdeel. Yeah, so that's two left-handers I can think of. So Chahal perhaps to get the nod for this game, Cheteshwar?
Yes, of course. I think for this game, they'll go with Chahal because, as Gaurav mentioned, I think he's a wrist spinner and, his form, I think in T20 format has been exceptional. So I don't think he will be missing out in the first game. But going forward, if he doesn't do well and if the management feels that they need either an extra spinner or Ashwin has to come in because the opponents have more left-handers, that might happen later in the tournament.
All right, fair enough. Last question I do want to ask you, since you're not going to be with us for this game, Cheteshwar, is in the absence of Bumrah and Harshal Patel, bit of a hole that creeps up on who takes responsibility to bowl at the death. Is that straightforward? Arshdeep Singh's job now? Would you like to see Avesh Khan sort of take that? Would India do anything differently by maybe using Chahal deeper, or Hardik Pandya has been used at the depth as well, and when two of their strike death bowlers are missing? How would you like India's bowlers to fill that vacuum?
I think Arshdeep has that talent along with Bhuvi. I wouldn't want Avesh Khan to bowl at the death. I mean, he has talent, no doubt about that, but he doesn't have that experience of bowling at the death. So I would want either Bhuvi or Arshdeep to take that responsibility. I don't see, Rohit holding Chahal back in the death overs. I don't think that is possible especially start of the tournament where wickets are good. Ball wouldn't spin that much. So death overs, I don't think Chahal or even Hardik can do that. Hardik has been bowling really well, but I would want him to, if he's bowling, he should be bowling in the middle overs, which is between 6 to 15.